Hello, old chaps. I've got Michael Bisping highlights on my TikTok feed, and we got Lerone Murphy in a main event against Movsar Evloev. That must mean UFC's in London. It is this weekend with our first early start card on of the Paramount era here. We are going to break it down. 14 fights we have for you for UFC London. Probably spend a little bit of time wallowing about UFC Vegas 114 as well. But to do all of that, I've got to bring in the actual star of the show, the man, the myth, the long shot legend, Matt Tanner. And I'm going to ask him, Matty, how you doing tonight, buddy?
You're the star of the show, bro. I haven't won a bet in fucking months.
Well, I had a horrible week at the Apex, which is very common. 6 straight losing weeks at the Apex for me. The last time I won an Apex UFC card of any kind was the Contender Series, so that place haunts me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You and I both loved Umar C, and Umar C did the fraudulent Umar C thing.
I was so surprised by that performance.
The only time I think I've ever seen a quicker tap in UFC was when Cyril Gane tapped against John Jones. It must be a French thing.
I think it was a close one. I think this one was quicker.
I spent all last week like an idiot talking about how much E1 QT Lava had improved, and what did we do? We just blindly said, let's do it. Let's fuck it. Let's bet Umar C anyway.
I mean, that was insane, bro. I didn't even see a path for QT Lava to win.
Yeah, and I think if anything, that's a good reminder. What can we take from that is like UFC fights are so many factors. It's not just technical skill, and there is like a intangibles willing to fight through element to like UFC fighters. And Umar C has all the skill in the world in every domain of MMA. The dude just does not have any dog in him, and that's as simple as it gets.
That's fair enough.
And so, yeah, QT Lava sub was one of those that it just came and it went, and I was stunned by that result, but I actually did see a couple of guys smack it on X, so that's good. Hey, if you take money from books, you're a friend by me. We root everybody on. We don't have to root against anybody. So hopefully this will be our week. We'll get back on our cycle winning ways and see what we have cooked in the long shots of this show. Matty, you and I have discussed Zippo of this UFC London card. What are your general thoughts about it, man?
It's okay. I'm not overly impressed by it.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of short props on this card.
Oh no.
KO props that are like, wow, that's expensive. We'll get into that, but it's insane.
I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on it. I only had 4 fights that I could model, one of them sitting to my left right now, so that's not optimal as far as what I want to do. I will take a lot of guesses at guys coming off the Contender Series. We actually have quite a few. We have 5 UFC debuts on this card as well, but none of them are here in this first fight up as we dive into UFC London. Women's bantamweight, Luana Karolina taking on Melissa Mullins. Really, Melissa Mullins has 2-2 in UFC. We've seen Karolina. We thought she had this resurgence coming up to bantamweight, beat Lucy Pudilova, looked really good. And then Michelle Montague, the Australian, she ended up taking some of her momentum in Perth last year. So this fight probably, it is the closest money line on the card as we sit here today. Luana Karolina minus 125, Mullins around that even money spot. What do you think of this matchup, man?
You know, Mullins has been grappling a lot. Did you see that? She has 3 straight grappling matches, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I like Luana here, but I think it is a close fight. Maybe Luana can have a lot of success late in the fight here.
Yeah, Mullins is one of those. So she's alternated wins and losses, and every time I'm ready to write her off, it feels like I kind of like I get burned by it in some way. Like Mullins looked really good against Alex Silva in her debut, then not so good against Nora Cornell, and it felt like she kind of got out of there quickly. And then that Claudia Segula win, dominant on the ground, that looks really good in hindsight with how Segula's won a couple of fights in a row now as well. It's just this edge of women's bantamweight is so tough, and it's just a really fervent place to be. I have this fight modeled. I have Karolina minus 110, so Mullins coming back at plus 110. I think the odds are largely right here, and it's really just a matter of if Karolina's takedown defense holds up. Mullins is really bad at distance. She has a negative 0.68 striking success rate, and I've really liked Luana in spots. I actually hit a round 3 on Luana a few years ago against Julia Stoliarenko. Like I played violence in that fight. I had a 2-3 hedge on Karolina, even though I thought she was going to get submitted. But I think the grappling matches are interesting for Mullins because she's a ground fighter, doesn't have a submission attempt yet. And I through my research, a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So we've seen Karolina tapped before. What do you think about a Mullins sub here? Because it's not a model fave, but
plus 1300, bro.
What is it?
Plus 1,300.
Oh, I have 28.
You what?
I have 28 to 1.
Oh,
That makes sense with an analytical model because we haven't seen a lot of it so far. But I've got 74.16% likely to go to the distance, so minus 287. What do we got for the total?
yeah.
Minus 260, so I actually show a little bit of value on the total. I feel like a full fight benefits Karolina here, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. We got a super chat. Rock ends by sub. Aswell money line.
Evloev decision.
Nice little underdog money line in there.
Yeah. Rock Abdul and sub is a wild prop to take. That's taking both sides of that fight. I after last weekend did sub, maybe we shouldn't rule out the long distance sub by one of the guys in the fight.
Yeah, fair.
All righty. Why don't we move up here to this next fight up? Women's strawweight this time, although Ravenna Oliveira has competed at bantamweight, but she's now taking her second fight at 115 pounds against a newbie, Chanel Dyer, coming off the Contender Series. Did not actually win on the Contender Series, but Dana took her in a wild back and forth fight with Carol Foro last season on the Contender Series. So, Matty, definitely, I think the flag is helping here, but Dyer is minus 480 after losing on the Contender Series. That seems really like a bad idea, even if I like Dyer in general. What are your thoughts on this fight?
I have no fucking clue, bro. Really wide.
It is really wide. I really don't know what to do with Oliveira. She made her debut at 135. She was so much smaller in that fight. And then skips over 125 altogether, comes down, and then the Luciano fight, really a bad look for her. She's landed just 29% of her significant strikes. Literally no Burger King manager, other looks like she works at a pawn shop. I wonder which one is which. I genuinely have no idea. But I liked Dyer coming onto the Contender Series. Very interesting kickboxing prospect to me. She ran into this Brazilian freight train, a miniature Jessica Andrade in Foro. I think Foro got a drop or two in that fight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she got 3 drops in that fight of Dyer. And I don't think of Dyer as someone who's chinny. It's typically not a problem at 115. And like on skill, Dyer was winning minutes in that fight, but she was just getting absolutely cleaned every so often. So it was a close decision. Didn't go her way. I think obviously odds makers make a win pick here. Not very interesting, but I would pick Dyer by decision if I had to. But there's no way I'm betting this money line. 0 chance.
Yeah, 100%, bro. We got a nice super chat here. Mason Jones by sub CLD KO Shamrock decision. 138 to 1, bro. Coming out swinging.
2 for 2 on Shamrock mentions the day after St. Patrick's Day. Maybe it's meant to be.
Yeah. Sub? What does that pay alone?
What Mason Jones sub?
Yeah. Let's take a look. Plus 1,200.
Wow. I've got 11 to 1. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Polarizing fight, that Shamrock fight. We'll get to. I may actually be the next fight up, which is like a perfect transition, Matty. If we go forward, I think we do have Shamrock in this next fight. Again, we do against Abdul Al-Selwady. So Shamrock gets the hometown crowd here. He is the Liverpool guy. He trains with Luke Riley, trains with Paddy Pimblett. And he comes in on his debut, gets a really tough draw against Nurullo Aliyev. Doesn't go his way via decision. And then Al-Selwady, the only time we saw him was against Lake Rajabov last March, or actually 2 Marches ago. So 2024 was his last appearance. This is one of the fights on one of the cards of all time here. So what do you think about this matchup? Near pick him again.
Yeah. Bro, I feel like everyone's going to be on Shamrock this week. I don't know how I feel about it, truthfully. I think there's another tough outing for him.
Yeah.
But this guy has been KO'd a bunch.
Al-Selwady?
Yeah, 4 times. That's all of his losses. 100% of his losses have been by KO. But most of them were years ago, like 2019 and below. He did get KO'd late in round 3, early in round 3, back in 2024 in the UFC. So I didn't watch a lot of tape on this one, so I don't have much for you guys. But I will say, I think be careful on the Shamrock side.
Yeah, it does. Anytime you see these short hometown dogs, you get a little bit nervous, and it's not like Rock is not a flawed fighter. I think that really his biggest problem, it was not his defense on the feet. It was 56% against a good technical guy in Olive. I just don't think there's a lot of power on his shots. I don't think he's a super powerful guy. I think he has a hard time bothering or disrupting opponents off of him, and then they're able to just pressure forward without very many consequences. And really, Shem is a submission specialist. I think he's 9-0 to the sub, Matty, if I have that number correct. I didn't know if you had it pulled up in front of you.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he is I mean, that's kind of what he does. The problem is you get to UFC, you get these guys like Al-Selwady that have never been submitted, very credentialed grapplers themselves. What is the path to victory? I feel obviously Olive is on a different level where he's undefeated in UFC. That's what he does. That's how he makes his bread and butter. That's why Olive was such a big favorite in that fight. This one, I think Al-Selwady is very flawed. My least favorite gym, of course, Fortis MMA, which is 0-4 in UFC thus far this year. So Al-Selwady would be 0-5. I guess it really just comes down to how good you feel about the submission sprinkle here, or if you think Shem can take minutes with his back control. But I agree with you. I typically try to avoid these popular dogs like Shem, but man, there's just not a lot that I see from Al-Selwady that inspires a lot of hope. And his win on the Contender Series against George Hardwick hasn't aged great either. This is just an ugly fight.
Yeah, bro. I think it goes the distance, and I think it's going to be probably a split decision or something close here.
You got to pinky promise me Al-Selwady doesn't end up in the cycle.
The first few fights aren't fucking touching. None of these 3 fights are touching the cycle. That's for damn sure.
Well, I let me ask you though. Okay, so the fight is -132 to go the distance. Rock, you like the fight to go the distance?
Yeah.
Who does that favor? I don't know either. I should think Mylene was like, I kind of like the plus money there on not goes the distance, but I don't know who that would favor either. So maybe I should just stay away.
A Shamrock decision by robbery or some shit.
Yeah, we've had 2 super chats thus far. Both of them played Rock decision. If either one of you guys want to say your angle there, I'm all ears. But I guess Al-Selwady 68% takedown defense, pretty good on paper. And I don't think of Rock as like a wrestler. He's more of a brawler, tries to take your back in transition type of guy. His takedowns aren't very good.
Yeah.
So we got
a super chat. Danny Silva decision, Alex KO, Brandon sub, 92-1.
Pericic sub, and then we have let's see, Montes Kondratavicius is round 1, Mario Pinto round 2, and then Axel Sola round 3. 11-5. Oh, wow, what is that? 115-1.
Yeah.
A big one. Big Maple swinging for the fences, and shout out him. He's always in our chat active every week, so we appreciate that love and support. Make sure to hit the like and share, on your social media channels as well. Trying to grow our audience. We can't really hit bets, but the analysis is pretty good, so that's fine, I guess, right? We're giving them something for their money here. Let's move on, Matty. This next one up at heavyweight, I actually think this is it'll be a fun fight to watch, at least. Louis Sutherland taking on Brando Pericic. Pericic coming off the big knockout in Perth over Alicia Ellison. And Louis Sutherland was a victim of your guy, Walter Walker. Yet another heel hook in Walter's reign of terror across the outside the rankings in UFC. So obviously the heel hook may or may not be live here against Sutherland in this fight. But what do you think of this matchup of sluggers here?
Bro, I don't know if there's been a worse 4-fight stretch to start a card. I mean, this is just brutal. What's this fight to end by KO is the real question.
I guarantee you this is the first fight I guarantee I'm going to have pretty definitive action on.
Yeah. The fight to end by KO is -160.
Okay.
Let's see. Sutherland by KO is +350. And then +130 the other way. What's your action?
I like Sutherland here. I think the odds are way too wide in this ugly Rock'em Sock'em Robots fight. I saw something this week that Pericic is like a ranked level UFC heavyweight, bruh, can we pump the fucking brakes for 2 seconds? I mean, he got in there with a guy in Ellison who I no disrespect to him because he's a hardworking guy, but he looked like a plumber in there in an ugly fight in his home territory. This time the home soil goes to Sutherland, and Sutherland is I really enjoyed his regional tape. He walks forward. He's a pressure fighter. He is not fucking afraid. And I think he's got a pretty good chin too. Like I found that Walker fight interesting, that I thought he was going to be the better striker if he could avoid getting taken down or obviously heel hooked. Now,
the first minute, or no? Was that another Walker fight? Did he tag Walter? I know it was a quick sub, but I can't remember if he tagged him at first.
Oh yeah. The one where what I mean, it was a minute and 24 seconds in, so I can't.
I think he tagged them in the first minute. If I don't,
it had to be because it wasn't Kennedy.
It
wasn't Kennedy.
Yeah, for sure.
And it wasn't Dontel Mays. It had to be Sutherland that actually got a good shot in there first.
I
remember it.
Was live here, bro. I really do.
You think Sutherland's live?
Sutherland KOs plus 350. I think it's live. Yeah. I'd definitely rather go that way than plus 130 the other way on a KO type of fight.
I kind of like the base play will be Sutherland and Sutherland KO, but I kind of like 2-3 here. I just feel like he's the significantly more experienced guy that might try to weather an early storm from a guy coming off a high of a knockout win in his home territory. He's undefeated. He's believing his own hype. Well, I guess he's 5-1. I didn't realize he had lost at this point, but he's kind of feeling himself, right? And Sutherland is more of the veteran. He's been in PFL. He's been in there in Bellator. I feel like he's going to try to weather an early storm and maybe come roaring back a little bit later.
That angle.
So
it
almost makes me wonder, like, am I falling for the easy chalk because I'm taking the UK guy plus 230? But no, there are people out there that really love Pericic, and I'm just not there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I don't know how you can be, like, with the sample we have so far. So I like Louis Sutherland in that fight, and Louis Sutherland. I love that dude. He marches forward. He does not give a fuck. Like, if heavyweight looked like that, more people would really like it.
Yeah, I agree.
All righty, man. Let's move forward here. We'll cut down a few pounds to middleweight. Montes Kondratavicius, and I might not have said that correctly because I was practicing all week, and I think I still messed it up. I can at least get Antonio Trocoli right. We've seen Trocoli now 3 times in UFC. So Montes coming off the Contender Series, got a big win over Danny Barbier, excuse me. Not the easiest name on the Contender Series. Glad we don't do that show. But Kondratavicius, because he's going against Antonio Trocoli here, is a giant favorite. I've got minus 770 sitting here on FanDuel currently. Wow. Matty, do you think that this is just really a clear Trocoli and move on to his next opportunity type of fight?
Yeah, I think so. Did Trocoli get subbed his last fight?
He did, by Mansour Abdul Malik.
Yeah. Yeah, and this guy's been grappling too. Because the KO looks easy, but you kind of got to sweat the sub with this guy, Trocoli, just because, like you said, he might just be moving on, and I know he plays some poker, does some other things. He can just come in and tap just like he did in his last fight. So it's something to look at here.
Yeah.
But I think ITD's clear here. Let's see what that price is. I imagine it's like
minus 200. Got to be at least minus 200.
Let me take a look.
Minus 425.
Oh my God, bro. Let's take the money line at that point.
Whenever I see that, dude, I think back to that fight of Tom Nolan against Dominic Reyes' brother, and I look at that 10-1 number on points. I'm like, what if this guy's a fraud?
Yeah, that's insane, bro. Especially because then Trocoli went to the 3rd round with Bullet, right?
Yeah, he did, and that was a weird late notice fight.
But Bullet just fucking chills there, bro. He just sits on the back foot and just pieces you up. I just don't see Montes doing that.
This might be my 5-minute sweat, bro. Kondratavicius and fight starts round 2 is plus 155. So if Trocoli makes it 5 minutes, which he hasn't done in consecutive fights, and I bet against Kondratavicius on the Contender Series. I thought Barbier was the bigger guy, a little bit better knockout power in that fight. It really was just like an ugly slug from the very start. So like you can't really tell a lot from a skill perspective, but I think at this point Kondratavicius is a little bit raw, definitely not refined. Trocoli's now faced a brutal level of competition. Like, I still like Trayshawn Gore a little bit. Abdul Malik is obviously really good, and then Shara Bullet is really great as well. So, like, this money line would scare me. I think I'd almost rather go for that 5-minute sweat and see if Trocoli can wait it out. And, Trocoli's a veteran of the game at this point, man. Maybe he is just showing up for the check and I fall victim to it, but at plus 155, I think I'm going to throw a unit on it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. We got a super chat here. Quito points, Montas sub, Ewo KO. That's not bad, bro.
Kada points is an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good angle.
If there's a fight that's kept me up on this card, it's Kada against Nathaniel Wood, who you and I both adore. So
I made a lot of money on him.
Yeah,
I like his durability too, which kind of plays into the Quito point side.
Yeah, I think that's the angle the super chat better is looking at too, which makes a lot of sense on paper. But we'll get to that fight in a bit. So, what do you think you might even? Would this be a cycle play on KO, or like, do you think you would rather just sprinkle the submission, which it's plus 380, so it's not even very good?
Yeah, fuck. I still kind of like it though. I think the KO looks too easy. Everyone's gonna be on it. Last week has me traumatized. All those different KO props that didn't hit, like freaking the club and sub with Elijah Smith was disgusting.
Oh, that was horrible.
You got Steven Asplin showboating after basically getting a TKO in round 1. I mean, there was so many. There was another fight. Brad Tavares hurts Eric Anders and then fucking falls on top of him. I mean, it was just the KO props were cursed last week.
I had Anders before that. You and I both got one kick in the nards in that fight because I had Anders in round 1 and you had Tavares in round 2, and neither one of them got the job done. So, really not ideal for either of us. We just got a comment. Trocoli, easy way out without Dan. Is this a tap to Texas Hold'em table pipeline? Is that what we're going with?
The Montes subside. I can get plus 375. It's okay.
I'll have to dig in more regionally before
number considering Trocoli is on his way out and taps very easily. And it's the easiest way to get a paycheck and not take damage. So it does make sense here. I see why it's not too big of a number.
Yeah. I mean, when it keeps happening, they can only put that number so high. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense. All righty, buddy. Why don't we move on to, I think, one of the easier ones. We haven't been doing particularly well lately. I think this will be a one we can handle. Mario Pinto taking on Felipe Franco. Last minute fight here. This was supposed to be our guy, Mick Parkin, against Mario Pinto. So now we have Franco stepping in on short notice here. As a result, Mario is the biggest favorite on the card, minus 900, floating toward minus 1,000 at most books. So, Matty, is this as easy as it seems on the surface with Mario?
It should be. This is another one where the KO's short and then the sub has value because Felipe Franco's only loss is by submission.
Yeah.
And Pinto does have some grappling.
Yep.
Let's take a look at the price difference. So Pinto by KO is minus 165 and then the sub's plus 400. Very similar to the last fight. I mean, I almost feel like you could take both subs here and go one of two and make some coin.
Yeah, Pinto 2 submission attempts recorded against Jonathan Deniz in his last fight. Man, that was a good performance by Pinto. I totally changed my perspective on him as a prospect.
Yeah, Felipe Franco, 10-1 professionally. He's 6-0 to the knockout, and then he's been subbed once. So, is Pinto by decision that crazy of an angle?
I don't think so. Because really that submission was exhaustion related. It happened on the Contender Series against my guy, Freddie Vidal, which I put in my Discord this week. Guy lost to Freddie Vidal, probably not beating Mario Pinto. That's all the analysis I put. And I think it could be that simple. Pinto decision. What is Pinto decision?
Plus 550.
Whoa. FanDuel's got 6-1 too.
Yeah.
I don't see Mario as a guy that carries a ton of power. Like, I think of him more as a volume striker. We saw a grappling wrinkle, and really nobody had done that to Deniz at that point. You know, Tabira got the ground and pound going, but Carl Williams wasn't able to get Deniz out of there, although Carl Williams couldn't finish his dinner. You know what I mean? But,
right.
It does make you wonder.
Yep.
That Franco was one of the most disappointing prospects the entire Contender Series because he was a big favorite. He's like minus 500 against Vidal, and he just got gassed out so quickly in that fight from doing basically nothing.
Yeah, 2-3 sub could be crazy.
I like Pinto 2-3, I think is the angle I want to take here. I just can't imagine Mario carries him to the end.
Round 2 subs 15-1. Round 3 is 25-1. I mean, 25-1 in round 3 subs insane.
Yeah. The round props are wild. Pinto round 1 is plus 110, round 2 plus 270.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to leave. So 1-2 together, then yeah, it's minus 250. It's a big cost if you're gonna pay that. But I mean, Franco, maybe it was an adrenaline dump on the Contender Series. I don't know what it was, but like, you can't be losing to Freddie Vidal if you're gonna have any sort of UFC future. Like Vidal looked really, really bad in his return effort, and with really no notable skills other than having a little bit more in the gas tank. Pinto's a guy that just very impressive in his last fight. I really can't get over it. I know it's pretty simplistic, but with these fighters, they're in this improvement window, right? And Pinto was actually hurt early against Austin late, if you remember. And I'm like, this guy might be terrible. And it's just this improvement window, training at a good team in Manchester. And I feel like the arrow is way, way up now, getting a showcase opportunity.
Yeah, fair. All right, we got a small super chat here. Evloev sub Duncan KO round 2, 55-1.
I don't want to take anything away from you, but like if we're looking to change up some of the mojo on the cycle, Pinto, I know the sub price is a little bit appealing, but Pinto KO is minus 155. If you found a sub and a decision you like, I mean,
right. Yeah, because the ground and pound's easy too.
But you got to have those Elijah Smith flashback nightmares, dude. That was surgical read by you, as good as it gets,
bro. Plus 425. That was the best KO value of the year, and it loses.
And I was totally wrong about that fight. Well, I mean, Sung Yu got his grappling going early, but at distance he was getting fucked up.
Just knew going in the round 2. You just knew.
Yeah, if he couldn't get those early takedowns, I was very scared about how it was going to play out at distance, and that's why. We got Pinto ITD easy work. Well, it's minus 370, so it's priced like easy work. So I think we got to do a little better than that. But maybe you just throw it in there, get it done. Those chalk parlays were cashing last week. We'll see if they do again this week. Anyway, moving on to 145, a fight we already briefly mentioned earlier. Losen Keita taking on Nathaniel Wood. This is Keita's official UFC debut, and guys, he's pretty good. If that isn't evidenced by the fact that Wood is plus 180 with all the experience and all the killers that he's fought. Matty, what do you think about Kada as he now makes his official debut? First one was canceled, and then our guy Nathaniel Wood on the other side here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really love this as a first outing for him. Nathaniel Wood's just so underrated and durable. He did get hurt in his last fight. I believe he won that decision, right?
Yeah, Wood, yes, he did. He came back from behind to beat Jose Delgado in that fight.
But then that fight has aged a little bit worse with the freaking Andre Fili performance. But, I mean, Fili fought really well that fight. I can't believe that fight went the distance. Yeah, so I like this fight to hit the cards, bro. I think everyone's going to be on Keita KO here. But I just got to keep believing in Nathaniel Wood. I think it's to be a close decision here. Nathaniel Wood by decision is plus 400 and then plus 225 the other way.
Yeah. I got to tell you, man, this fight scares me because I'm unabashedly a Nathaniel Wood fan, but like I feel like the only way that Keita justifies this number whatsoever is if he knocks him out. And Wood has been dropped in 2 of his last 5 fights. 54% striking defense for Nathaniel is not bad. It's just closer to average, just slightly above average in this division. And Keita is a bomber. This guy, like when you talk about absurd power that you can see in every strike, a little bit like we saw with Manuel Sosa last week, where it's like when this guy loads up to throw and sits down, he is going to put your lights out. Like, if I can get a prop on underdog for Keita to score a knockdown, not necessarily a knockout, but just drop Nathaniel Wood at some point, I'm all about it. Because Delgado dropped him, Andre Fili dropped him, And Kada is a massive. Now, the question becomes, how does round 2 and how does round 3 look? Because he throws so much into every shot. Does the cardio last? This is his toughest opponent yet. So that is the concern for me to go money line or make him a traditional win pick. But these odds scare me because of what I talked about with, you remember Neil Magny when he was taking on Amosov? And I was like, these underdogs that continuously keep winning as underdogs, they're typically not infinite money glitches. And that's like, I'm like, why is Wood plus 180 here with all the experience he's got? And it scares me about the KO power. So I've lost sleep about this fight this week. I don't have a good read on it whatsoever.
The thing is Keita, 2 of his last 4 fights were unanimous decisions, and that's outside of the UFC.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think
what weight class? What weight class for him?
Knockdown, he can win on the cards. I just don't think he's going to finish Nathaniel Wood.
What do we have for the total in this fight? Okay, so fight to go the distance, no, is minus 124.
Wow. Yeah, over 2.5. I see over 2.5 at minus 125. So it's
We've gotten some really good comments about Kada doesn't have a submission result regionally, and his grappling is really untested against a guy in Wood who's so well rounded.
Yeah.
So that's some of where the total comes from.
More into the Keita decision route though, because then Nathaniel Wood can burn some clock with some grappling.
Yeah.
Then he can just get out damaged in the fight.
Yeah. It's a good point because I feel like Kada is minus 800 to win round 1. But then where does it go from there? So if you were going to play this in a cycle, you get a little bit plus money on fight to go the distance, then you don't have to worry about the scorecards.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, we'll see if Kada makes weight as well. We'll see if we even have this fight at our disposal. So I'd be careful about putting it out Thursday because he missed by like 9 pounds against Patricio Pitbull. Like they canceled the fight and everything.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, that's my concern. We just got a great comment. As so athletic, takedowns don't matter. I feel like these guys at face-offs, Nathaniel Wood used to fight at 135. Kada is a big 145er. I'm worried about the size discrepancy for Nathaniel.
Yeah. He has a body shot KO too, which I think Nathaniel Wood keeps a high guard. He can find that.
Yeah. And he's historically a very durable guy to put away in terms of, he's been dropped, but when you're in such great shape and you just have good instincts, sometimes you can survive those drops.
Yeah.
Kada smokes him. Don't overthink it. Well, KO is plus 165. It's the shortest outcome in the fight. And it's kind of where I was leaning, Matty. And it's just, I think my love for Nathaniel Wood is pulling me away from it a little bit, but I feel like I know the end result.
Fair enough. I'll probably stay away from the cycle on this one.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I love Nathaniel Wood. I hope he gets it done, but I don't know. But well, speaking of fighters that Austin is usually behind, how about we got Mason Jones taking on Axel Sosa at lightweight? This is a really good fight. Jones pretty much is only ever in good fights. He had that brawl with Jeremy Stevens, back and forth fight with Balaji Oki, Ludovic Klein, you name it. Mason Jones has had a good fight against him. And then Axel Sosa, a successful debut on home soil in Paris against Reese McKee, Matty. So what do you think about this fight at 155 here?
Mason Jones minus 130. Fuck. That Balaji Oki performance kind of aged well too.
Yes. I mean, I just think it's so tough to knock Oki for last Saturday because Manuel Sosa is a Terminator.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That guy was throwing everything he had into every shot for like 13 minutes straight. It had to be horrifying.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Sola.
It's Sola. It is Axel Sola. So apologize about the type. We had 2 Sosas last week, so we added another this week. Our bad.
Yeah. Sola KO or bust. Interesting. Yeah. I like Axel here if I had to pick a side.
Interesting. Why?
I just don't I don't trust Mason Jones in this spot, bro. Like what's it mine? I want to see what this prop is. You're on the Mason Jones side?
I think I am, though. I wanted to see where the line went this week. It looks like it's inching a little bit toward Mason. But did you watch Axel Sola's fight against Nasruddin Imavov's brother, Dyer? he fought his brother regionally, and Evloev nearly had him in a triangle. He had his back in positions, and I feel like he really struggled in certain spots grappling in that fight. And of course, he's in an improvement window, so he's not the same guy that fought in 2024 against Evloev. But Mason Jones, to me, is a really great, really skilled positional grappler, good double, single leg takedowns. I feel like Jones' downside is his willingness to brawl on the feet, and that could get him in a lot of trouble against a guy like Sola, who's very technical, carries a lot of power. I think with the wrong game plan, Mason Jones could look like a horrible favorite to back in this spot. But when you watch that Evloev fight, I feel like Mason Jones can get this fight to the ground and control Sola positionally.
Yeah. Yeah, Mason Jones by decisions plus 200.
Okay.
And then decisions plus 250.
Yeah.
I don't mind the cards. It's probably minus 150 maybe. Fight to go the distance, minus 155. Yeah.
Yeah. Sola is incredibly talented. The difference is the matchmaking here is he got Reese McKee. McKee is a striker, throw down on the feet, kickbox, no takedown threat whatsoever. Jones is almost the complete opposite approach. So it's really tough for me to be like, I would have hoped for a little bit more plus money, whereas I feel like I have a good idea of who Mason Jones is at this point, I feel like at this point, what I know about him is that he's got his good takedown entries. I think he's got underrated power on the feet. He did drop Oki back in that fight. And really the Jeremy Stevens fight was a blowout. Jones lost a fight to Mike Beast Boy Davis, who I love, where he outstruck him, and then he lost a close decision to Ludovic Klein. That's it. Like, he's fought really great competition. I just think he's a known commodity compared to Sola. I don't quite trust yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jones by decision might be the read, bro. Plus 200.
Yeah. I'd be down for that in the cycle because by the way, Jones got his very first UFC finish in the last finish. Oki said he made a mistake positionally in grappling last week, and Sola did a great job fighting out of him. He had a triangle attempt on him, an arm triangle from top position. He fought out of. I invite anybody to go watch that fight. The full highlights are available on both Facebook and YouTube. It's a great fight, I think, for what this matchup is going to look like. And Sola did a nice job surviving. So I kind of like a decision in a 3-rounder here.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right, guys, before we hop up onto the main card here, like I said in the start of the show, I haven't been doing it well at the Apex. Matty, you know who did really well at the Apex last week? Nolan and Hayjob, because they always crush it at the Apex because they dig into the tape and they find the edges that I can't. And that's why the GOATs at Home of Fight Picks, you can go to HOF Picks or visit the link in the episode description. You use code HOF, 7 days free. You can get their UFC London picks totally for free. Hayjob already has an entire menu of DFS plays for Underdog and everything like that available so I could not recommend more. The pros that keep the lights on here at Home of Fight Picks. Nolan and Hayden do a great job. Of course, Hayjive will be on with Matty on Friday. They do long shots only where you guys get to call in. And then Nolan makes a lot of great content for YouTube as well. So follow those guys on social media and join us at winnable.com/HOF picks or visit some of the links in the episode description. All right, Matty, kicking off the main card in style here. We got a featherweight bout between El Puma, Danny Silva taking on Curtis Campbell. I know we have Kurt on there. Is that a change? Is that like a preference change? Does he go by Kurt? I had Curtis Campbell in my notes. Oh, well. One way or another, Pink Panther on the other side making his debut on home soil. I really like this fight, Matty. Campbell right now minus 240 or so on most sports books. What do you think about this matchup?
So I was looking at this fight for the cycle, actually.
Yeah.
Near your input here. Let me see what the prop is. But I was looking at maybe the Curtis Campbell decision angle here.
Okay.
2-0 on scorecards. He has 3 straight finishes. But what do we know about Danny Silva? He's fucking durable as shit, bro. I mean, the guy's just, going the distance of Kevin Vallejos after we saw Vallejos just did the Josh Emmett. And he's lost on the scorecards twice already. He's never been finished by KO or sub, and he's 5-2 on the scorecards here. I kind of feel like the hometown guy on the cards here could be a good angle. It is a little bit short, though, so it just is a matter of if I want to take that shot and take a couple longer props in the cycle. But I do think the hometown guy by decision here makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. In general, I like Curtis Campbell, bro, but I think this is a horrible first matchup for him.
Yeah.
And that when you talk about a guy that hasn't fought great competition regionally, doesn't train at a quality gym, like he's just, I think he's got a lot of skill and potential at 23 years old, but Danny Silva's the fucking man. I mean, he goes 15 minutes with Kevin Vallejos, had that unbelievable brawl back and forth with, God, the name's escaping me right now. He had the brawl back and forth with Josh Culiabao, where he had to rely on his wrestling. Had that crazy fight where he and Angel Pacheco both ended up on the hospital in the Contender Series. Like, the dude fights guys that are incredibly high level strikers, and he showed great grappling defense as well. Silva takedown defense, I'm cruising here, 81%. So he's been hard to floor, really high volume guy. I've never seen a guy absorb like 7.5 significant strikes per minute with like 90th percentile striking defense at 61%. Silva's just been against these guys that push this insane pace, and he's making a miss. It's just he has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And I don't know if Campbell is that sort of high octane, crazy matchup like Vallejos as well. I love Danny Silva. He's my favorite underdog on the card. So I'd be all about like a decision type of fight here because I do respect Campbell. Think he's a super tough guy, but I like Silva by points here.
Yeah, no, it's a good argument. It's a very good argument. But Silva has 2 split decisions, which worries me a little bit.
It's so scary because it feels like he's all these tight fights.
Right, and that's why I kind of leave the decision for the hometown guy here. I think he's going to squeak it out. Let's see what the difference is. The fight to go the distance.
Can you imagine if I just gave that read on air and then he gets robbed on the scorecards and left?
I'm telling you, I think that's honestly what's going to happen. I just have the craziest feeling about it. Fight to go the distance is -160, and then Campbell on the cards is +120.
Yeah. It's interesting. You see all the guys coming off the impressive debuts. Campbell, one of the brighter stars off season 9 of the Contender Series. This line only being -240 to me is very peculiar. When Silva's a guy that I think a lot of people are down on as just sort of a split decision, nothing special type of guy. His analytics are very, very special in terms of striking accuracy, defense, and takedown defense, especially when you consider who he's fought. I'm all about Danny Silva, and I'll go down with the train if I have to.
Fair enough.
All righty, man. Let's move on to this next fight here. Actually, one I could model between a couple of UFC bets. Christian Leroy Duncan, CLD, on this meteoric rise up the middleweight ranks and really one of the prides of England, I think, at this point. Taking on Roman Dolidze, coming off that disappointing main event against Fluffy Hernandez. Really, he got vintage Fluffy drowned in that fight here, Matt. So CLD almost -500, which I understand in principle. I do have the model result that's not quite that wide, but what do you think about this matchup, bro?
So I was looking at this earlier today on the podcast, and this is a fight where literally I would take whatever number is better for CLD on the decision or KO prop.
Okay.
I think they're literally 50-50, and I saw the KO at like 125 and then the decision at +155. And Dolidze's never been KO'd or TKO'd, right? Like Fluffy finished him, but it was a choke.
Yeah.
And I think Dolidze can try to grapple a little bit in this fight, but I don't see him getting a finish. I think Duncan is big and strong and explosive and stays safe. And I think that kind of plays into a Duncan decision angle where he's going to keep his distance, I think, from Dolidze and just outpoint him here. So I like CLD on the decision angle here. And I've been on this guy by KO, so I'm kind of switching it up here just based on price. But Dolidze is a tough guy to kind of just put away by strike. So I'm going to trust that. This is actually an angle I'm definitely looking at for the decision or for the cycle.
I love it, Matty. I got CLD decision +116. I'm surprised that the number is actually playable. So, and then I've got this fight -230 to go the distance. Looks like odds makers have it actually favored to not go the distance. Dolidze made it into the 4th round against Fluffy. Am I mistaken? It was either the 3rd or the 4th round.
I think it was the 4th. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the 4th round, and then he went all 5 rounds with Marvin Vettori. Got the nod there. Dolidze is underrated, man, because he's ugly, but He trains with my guy Eric Nixix out at Extreme Couture. I think for what his skill set is, he has a technical way of surviving. But the problem is that Dolidze is just outgunned in terms of horsepower, in terms of variance of weapons. CLD is going to be able to land knees. He's going to be able to land elbows. The crowd's going to go nuts every time something lands, which helps the decision angle in this spot. But Dolidze is a tough guy to finish and to get out of there. And he really has looked, I think, athletically better as he's aged, in that it feels like he's a little bit leaner. It feels like he's in better shape. He's just had to go up against guys like Fluffy Hernandez, right? Or a Nasruddin Imavov, or, he got the Vittori result back, but Dolidze has been in there with some really high level competition and, not, like you said, never been knocked out. So I like this fight to go the distance. And then I'm good with Duncan, CLD by decision in the cycle as well.
Yeah, I think I love it the more I keep looking at it. Dolidze never finished in a 3-rounder. And then you look at some of Duncan's KOs, like 2 of them are like spinning elbows and back fists. Like, how sustainable is that, I just think he outpoints him. I think it's a 30-27 here.
Yeah.
Maybe 28, and he wins easy on the cards. We got a super chat here. Rock sub, Jones decision, Riley KO, 40-1, bro. Every super chat has had Shamrock in it, or most of them.
That's probably my favorite of the ones that come up thus far. But man, that Shamrock angle, it's like you really want your $50 of Matty's side on Shamrock, bro. Like, can we pick guys on the main card? Well, we got the chat, and the vibes have not been amazing. The chat loves the decision angle here, Matty. So I almost feel obliged to take it in the safe parlay, which I didn't have a good lead last week, but the safe parlay at least printed, so I could feel good about that morally.
Yeah,
I should have had more on it. It would help me.
There's no doubt in my mind right now.
I like it.
Bro, the price is good. A -480 favorite against a guy who's never been finishing a 3-rounder to win by decision at +155. I mean, that's just a perfect spot here.
We'll see if I can talk you into another cycle leg that is a little bit insane in a fight that we got coming up too.
By the way, bro, March Madness dogs 3-0, and Miami, Ohio is up 6 right now in the first.
Was Miami, Ohio really a dog tonight?
275, a team that's 31-1, +275, but it's because their opponents suck, apparently.
Yeah, I want to take Miami, Ohio in the first round if they end up moving on. So
I need a 16 seed this year, bro. It would be electric.
So you're not amending it. You are betting 16 seeds this year?
I did it. So I hit one 2 years ago when everyone told me not to do it. But listen, I'd rather lose $4,000 betting all 4 of them than not bet when one of them hit, bro. Because, bro, like some of these odds, like 1,000 pays like $40,000, $60,000. You never know, bro. You never know.
So you got a few years of a buffer to snag one of them and still come out profitable.
On the 16 seeds, yeah. The last 2 years have been bad on the dogs, but the 2 years before that were insanely.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna beg you to shelve the idea. I just feel like the transfer portal has kind of hurt the underdog thing in March Madness
right now, and that's gonna be factored into the price in the market. True. And I will say, usually every year when I do this March Madness campaign, I see a ton of other creators copy it and everyone bet it. Crickets this year. No one's doing it, and I'm telling you, I feel really good about it. I'm about to hopefully get a 4-0 start.
That's sick.
Ohio can get it done. They're up 34-25 with 3 minutes to go in the first. So we'll see what happens. But if I can start off 4-0, I'm gonna be up like $7,000 already just on dogs.
I gotta sniff out a dog that I like for you. I think I had one in my bracket. I gotta double check what it was. But all right. Why don't we move on, Matt? Because we rarely ever find cycle legs like that we both love. We'll see if we can find another one in this fight. Light heavyweight Iwo Baraniwski coming off one of the craziest UFC fights I've ever seen, really, with Ivo Aslan. Like you can't even describe that fight to someone. We have the odds backwards, by the way, on this slide, Matty. We got Baraniwski. Austin Lane is not a -590 favorite in UFC, but he is making his
fucking hammer the other side.
Yeah, he's making his first cut to 205 here. He's dropping down from heavyweight, Matty. So this feels like Baraniwski getting a little bit of a favor, not too far away from home in England. He's from Poland. So what do you think of Baraniwski here? Is this another instance where the favorite's pretty good?
Yeah, he's going to knock him out cold, bro.
I mean, I kind of agree with you. So, I don't have much to dispute.
I mean, these are one of these KOs. Minus 200 is just insane. But, I mean, Austin Lane's just hit or miss. I mean, he can – maybe there's a world where he's just too big and strong and explosive and he grapples him up, like in the Rebels to Spain fight. But, like, I mean, this guy's chin gets touched by Evo. He's done.
Yeah. The last two that I could find, and if someone in the chat can comment more and I just missed it, I had Caio Machado and Tanner Boser as the last two guys that dropped down to 205 pounds. Maybe I'm forgetting someone, but both of them ended up losing their debut. I hate this cut because typically the skill level rises at light heavyweight more than any particular size advantage. And Matty, I'll tell you an angle that, especially when I look at the numbers on the screen, if they are correct, I kind of like Baraniwski sub here. He has an armbar regionally. And I just don't think we've seen – there was a reason he was matched up with Muhammad Ali on the Contender Series, grappling guy. We thought that he was at least going to have a chance to defend Ali in what he does best. And then all of a sudden he knocks him out cold within a couple of minutes and then does the same thing to Ivo Aslan. I feel like Evo is more talented than we're giving him credit for as the bar fight guy. And Austin Lane, he's been subbed at least by Vitor Petrino. Maybe I'm forgetting another time, but I kind of like the sub sprinkle here, like you were talking about earlier.
Bro, it's up to plus 525.
Yeah. But the problem is, if I bet that and then he knocks him out inside 2 minutes, I'll feel like an idiot because Lane is one of the chinniest guys at heavyweight. Now cutting all this weight to get down here, it's just it's such an obvious chin problem.
Lane only been subbed once, and that was Dolidze.
Baraniwski round one is minus 170. I love a good 5-minute sweat. This one's not for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I just see Austin Lane running forward into a shot.
Yes. And he's going to try. My thinking is that the only time Lane has had any success in UFC, he tried to wrestle. And maybe Baraniwski wraps up like a guillotine or something like that. But we got to be careful playing the front choke angle because most of the time guys nowadays know how to defend the front choke and they just end up in top position. Every now and again, we still get one, though, and it's electric. Didn't Jakob get Wicklass? Didn't he get us a front choke at the end? That was a guillotine? Because Gafarov shot into it?
With 1 second left.
Those are the ones that keep hope alive, man.
Yeah. I have submissions.
Yeah. But so we both like Baraniwski. I think I'm gonna sprinkle the sub, but I think we know what's most likely coming here.
For sure.
Yeah. And if you want to bet Austin Lane, go for it. Anyway, moving on to this next fight here at welterweight. I think it's a banger. Brits squaring off Michael Venom Page taking on Sammy Patterson, who is on this resurgence. It's moving up in weight. Really polarizing fight in betting circles this week, Matty. I've seen guys that love MVP, some that love Patterson as a dog shot. So you and I haven't talked about it at all. What do you think of this matchup with MVP at minus 186?
Bro, I was talking about this on the pod today. We had Francis Marshall and Grant Dawson on. Bro, this is, to me, I asked Grant Dawson, I was like, do you know what a trap is? Because these guys aren't sports bettors, obviously. I was like, do you know what a trap is in sports betting? And he's like, no, what's that mean? I was like, MVP's minus 190 on Sam Patterson. I was like, why is it not minus 350? Why is it not minus 300? It feels too easy. I want to take MVP KO here really badly. I just hate how he showboats like in the Cannoneer fight. I can't stand it. Fucking Asplund did it to us last week. Has Petrino pretty much TK'd on the feet, and then he fucking flashes him or moons him or whatever. And bro, just knock him out. Stop doing this bullshit. And MVP drives me crazy with his antics. But I feel like outside of the submission and the grappling danger, I think stylistically it's a good fight for MVP where Patterson can march forward and get tagged with shots.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of this MVP. I have no doubt he finds a shot. It's what happens after is he doesn't want to go to the ground with him if he hurts him. And then it's does Patterson recover? But I don't know. I can't play Sam Patterson here. I will say I think Patterson's most impressive fight was the Danny Barlow fight. I know you like that performance. That was a very good performance.
I mean, also a tough guy in Trey Waters, who's a super long guy that can touch you up with his jab, and he walked him down too.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, there's a gap between going from Trey Waters to Michael Page, so it's like it's a little bit of a gap there.
Right. And like,
but yeah,
if Patterson doesn't get takedowns, how's he getting it to the ground? Because you can't hit Michael Venom Page on the feet, bro. He's just not getting. He's just not there to be hit.
Yeah.
I just think it could look very like MVP could look minus 500 in this fight if he stuffs takedowns and just styles on him.
Yeah. I like the fight that has me on Sammy Patterson here is when he fought Ian Gary, and I feel like Patterson is a better wrestler and grappler than Ian Gary is, and it's just a matter of whether he's able to use what we've come to see as like this new boxing, where he's able to get in that range where he can get a hold of MVP, and like we saw Jared Cannonier in that fight get on top. This is also Page cutting back to welterweight for the first time in a couple of fights. He's 38 years old. I get a little bit scared there when Patterson showed some power. I like Sam. I've got him 44.1%. I've got the submission 22.3%, which is going to show a ton of value, I'm sure. What is Patterson sub? Probably like 5-1 or something like that.
That'd be crazy. It's probably 400.
Patterson subs plus 440. Yeah. So it's like, but still well in value range for me. I've got it plus 349. And like Page is a tough guy to submit historically. So that's why I do think the decision is actually live for Patterson, and a guy that I'm pretty sure Patterson, yeah, he's been out of there in round 1 in 5 straight fights. I do think length is a possibility here relative to his last few fights. But I feel like this is a changing of the guard sort of fight. And when you say I think this is a trap line, I think that's kind of why Patterson's length is going to give MVP problems compared to the advantage he usually enjoys in these type of fights.
Yeah. Yeah, Cannonier's like 4 inches shorter than these guys.
Yeah. Which is crazy because he fights at 185. It's just because you have giant. He is like packed with muscle mass. But
yeah.
I think Sam Patterson's a problem, man. Like he got chinned early against Yanel Ashmouz. He was cutting way too much weight to get down to 155. But since he has moved up to 170, the guy's looked absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah, bro. His Danny Barlow performance was insane. I remember I was in that fight with Jason Anik and Hay Drive here in Boca, and we all were on the KO for Barlow.
Yeah,
and just fucked him up, bro. We were like, what just happened?
Yeah. Are Sam's takedown entries really that good? I think there is a mystery of it because it's just been so easy with guys like Kiefer Crosby and guys like Johan Lund. Yes, it's just been so easy. There is a mystery of how does he deal with a vet and Page, and he's a lot smaller than a guy like Johnny Eblin or Cannonier that got a 3rd round takedown
here. Kevin Holland. I mean, Sam Patterson's kind of a similar frame as Kevin Holland, bro. And
Sam's wrestling is way better than Holland. It's not even close.
Yeah. I mean, Holland, I think, had his back in first round at the end of the round, I think. I was at that fight live.
Yeah. Kevin landed 2 of 5 takedowns and over 4 minutes of control.
Yeah. No, that's encouraging for Patterson for sure.
But this is a worse version of MVP. He's kind of exiting his prime quickly.
Yeah, fair.
Did MVP? Yeah, MVP ended up getting the decision in that Cannonier fight, but that was not a very entertaining fight to watch.
No. Nope.
And he just hasn't really separated yet in any of these fights. It's like he just doesn't throw a lot, and so it's just hard to knock guys out at a UFC level when you don't throw a lot.
Yeah.
No, he's more so focused on his defense.
That's my fear with taking it. That's why I don't want to take it.
So you really don't have a very good read here because you're not interested in decision either?
I do not. No. I would hate to not bet this fight, but I don't have a read on it.
Yeah.
I feel like the MVP side feels very trappy to me. I guess my favorite play is the MVP money line, but again, it feels like I'm falling for the trap.
Well, you could go double chance, but like, what's even the point? It's probably like 5 cents.
For sure.
So, alrighty. We got Sam Sprinkle submissions in the chat. A little bit of a model approved sprinkle there. Maybe we'll see. I was trying to talk you into Patterson sub for the cycle, but I understand why you're hesitant. I really do. We'll talk about cycle legs at the end of the show, but first we got to get to our co-main event here. We got Luke Riley, interestingly enough, in the co-main event, taking on Michael Aswell Jr., who I mentioned last week, former opponent of Balaji Oki. Riley getting a lot of love on home soil. He's minus 295 here, Matty, off a successful debut where he was able to score the KO finish. What do you think about this matchup with Aswell here?
I'm rooting for Aswell. That's my boy. I will say, bias aside, I kind of feel like Aswell's volume could get it done on the cards here as a big dog.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if he'll wrestle at all in this fight, but like Aswell's been very durable. Like could be a world where he could outvolume him on the feet and win on the scorecards here if he doesn't get robbed. But Luke Riley's power is the real deal, so it's very difficult. I mean, Aswell throws 9.5 significant strikes. Like what?
He lands 9.5, Matty. He throws over 20.
So I know Riley only has one fight in the UFC, but his number is 2.55.
Yeah.
It's obviously, very skewed because of one fight, and he was taken down the whole fight.
Yeah.
But Aswell throws a lot, bro. I like his boxing.
I like Michael Aswell too. This is a really tough position for him. It's really just a matter of is this total hype and steam, but like the interesting part of this matchup is I think Riley is a sitting duck in some of these tougher matchups with guys who can take him down, but that's not Aswell's game. Aswell's a great boxer, trains with those guys in Houston. Riley, a very fast, crafty kickboxer himself. Yeah. I mean, to me, this has all the makings of a fight of the night type of fight.
Yeah, for sure. And training with Josh Van, who, has kind of a similar style in a way.
Yeah. And it could be very well a damage versus volume sort of style. But the thing you got to remember about Aswell and why his volume numbers are so high is because he's faced guys like Oki or Lucas Almeida or Bogdan Grad that are there to be hit on the feet. I feel like Riley's striking defense is significantly better than all those guys, 80% in his first fight against Grad. You look back at how Michael Aswell fought Bogdan Grad, just 53% striking defense against Bogdan. Same opponent, similar reach, both at distance. And I feel like Riley is just a little bit level above here. I kind of like the over, which is minus 132 to go the distance on FanDuel. But I would be afraid to lay plus 130 with a decision for Riley because of Aswell's historical volume. So I think we have a similar read. I'm just kind of a little wary of it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it hits the cards.
It's favored to hit the cards after Riley had that big knockout of Grad, but Aswell is just so tough. And by the way, also a 54% striking defense, very good overall so far. But Aswell took that last minute notice fight at 155 against Oki, which is just how many featherweights is Oki putting out in that spot? And Aswell was able to go all 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Oki's got huge power.
Yeah, I like Aswell by decision. I think the number's insane.
What do we got? So Riley decision is plus 130.
Yeah.
Aswell points is plus 550.
Yeah.
But the adult responsible thing to do is probably Aswell point spread. We'll see what it comes in at.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this is kind of a setup spot for Riley where he is just a little bit ahead of Aswell. And maybe I'd take the God, I'd be so nervous about the under. It depends what the line is for Aswell's significant strike prop. We'll see.
For sure.
All righty, man. Why don't we move up to the main event? Oh, I thought we had an intro.
We did. I'm slow, but we got.
I was like, oh, did I buffer? Am I frozen? Did something happen?
I was just on the wrong screen, but you woke me up a little bit. Thanks, Austin.
The timing ended up perfect. By the way, Jake, our hardworking producer, is probably doing a billion other things to keep Home Fight alive. So I'm not saying he's asleep at the wheel whatsoever. But we got this fight of the year almost thus far in this featherweight division because I think it's more entertaining than the title fight was. Movsar Evloev taking on Lerone Murphy. Obviously, this is a home game for Lerone Murphy coming off that crazy knockout of Aaron Pico. But Evloev, a big favorite and kind of the boogeyman of this featherweight division, Matty. I know you've historically been an Evloev guy. What do you think about him here at minus 260 against Murphy?
I think the biggest challenge with backing Lerone Murphy here is Pico was just exposing the wrestling until he got caught.
Sure.
I think Evloev's even a better version of that. So we had Dawson and Marshall on, who are teammates of Evloev. I always say his last name wrong. But they said Masvar by decision. Bet the farm on it. They're like, he ain't finishing nobody. Win a decision. It's minus 120. But bro, the degen in me, I want to take Masvar round 4-5 so badly here.
Just from wearing him down over the course of the fight.
Yeah, I can see it. I can really see it, but I think Murphy survives. These guys are so similar in a way. They're both very high level. They both have so many decision wins. Hopefully, it's an entertaining fight, but I could really see Masvar just smothering him for 5 rounds.
Yeah. It's such an interesting spot to once again see Evloev, and this is his third start since the start of 2024 and first one since December 24 against Aljamain Sterling. So it's been a while. I really don't even know what the potential trap is here, because it's just like, it feels like Evloev is going to be able to take Murphy down when these guys are fresh, correct?
100%.
I think that would be stunning if Murphy was able to stop those early takedowns and advances. But then the variables kick in. This is Evloev's first 5-round fight. Murphy's been through that sort of fight before. Murphy has probably fought a tougher level of competition, although it's somewhat equal. I always forget about the Diego Lopez fight because that was just a few days' notice before Diego was Diego. But then, tight fight with Arnold Allen. Aljamain Sterling was having a lot of success before he gassed out in that fight. Is dictating the wrestling going to potentially set Evloev up to a point where he gets tired and Murphy's able to take advantage of it? But to me, it feels like he's incredibly well conditioned. Do we get into some sort of perverse argument about like damage versus takedowns when Evloev is a guy that historically hasn't added a ton of ground and pound to his arsenal? And so all of a sudden we're giving Murphy rounds in England where he landed like 4 strikes and it looks more like the Oralby fight. You know what I mean? It's like, that's all I would get wary about here. Obviously the model's going to love Murphy at such a big number. I've got Lerone plus 115 decision. I've got it 78.1% of the time. So I do like the over for this fight. Evloev just hasn't finished anybody, and that's probably what it's just going to track and say. Murphy, by the way, is a bit of a decision merchant himself. The Pico shot was a little lucky, but it was 5 straight decisions before that. So honestly, the total at like minus 250 is not so bad. I'm surprised it's not closer to like minus 400. It's minus 260. So
I do want to sweat 5 rounds at that price, just in general. Not even on this fight. In general, like, it's like, who wants to sign up for that?
Yeah. This fight could end up being really bad. If it looks like the early Pico wrestling success for 5 rounds, this fight could end up being really, really bad. But like, I don't know. Lerone is a guy that's grown on me. When he first started in UFC, I was like, I don't really see it with this guy. And then he loses round 1 to Makwan Amirkhani, and for whatever reason, I feel like that changed his trajectory completely in UFC, and he had that dominant win over Barboza, and he's a guy that just seems to always find some sort of way. And so like the obviously model read here is Murphy points, but like, does it happen other than some sort of perverse damage versus control argument? I don't know how that's possible when Evloev is so good getting takedowns.
Yeah, I don't think Murphy. I think he would have to have an Aaron Pico performance again to win this fight. And I just think I think Masvar. I'm just gonna say his first name. I think Masvar is literally too smart and calculated, bro. He's just Pico. We've seen been starched before. We've seen him get hit. He's too aggressive on the feet. Masvar is not going to give him those chances. So I love him to win by decision here, but I would maybe sprinkle on 4-5.
Yeah. I think there's a chance that this line continues to get larger and larger, that like I could play some sort of perverse Murphy point spread here, like plus 9.5 or something absurd. Maybe on the basis that Evloev tires out a little bit, but like the number just feels really heavy to me, and a guy that I've just had a harder time getting my arms around Evloev because it's like a decision machine, not a lot of power on paper, It's like you give me the jock sniffing wrestling archetype. I'm not super interested. It's been hard for me to get in on Evloev.
Evloev. There we go. That's perfect. You spelled it out for me.
I've been saying it for the last 5 minutes.
No, I had to see it and write it.
Phonetics. You're more than welcome to give me phonetics if I mess up. Yeah, betting on Murphy's of a donation. Maybe it is. I mean, it's like it's one of those things where the number probably is too wide, but then when you start thinking about how the fight actually plays out, it's like, what is Murphy's path to victory here, other than Evloev getting tired?
Right.
I don't know.
It's true. And I asked Dawson and Marshall, and they said that as respectfully as possible that he's not a good submission threat. And we just haven't seen have we seen attempts from him in the UFC?
0.2 attempts per 15 minutes. He has.
He's more of a grappler with like control and ground and pound.
He has 2 total attempts. Both were in the fight against Hakeem Dawodu.
Wow. Yeah. I even think I would play a 4-5 TKO angle versus just a 4-5 or finish.
You know what's fucking wild is my model has Murphy sub at 10-1 and it's 22-1. So it's like it kind of likes the long shot there.
Good luck.
Yeah, it is. I think what some of that is how many attempts Diego Lopez recorded against him, and Murphy is a black belt, so Evloev's not getting tired. Yeah, I do respect Evloev. I do think the cardio is crazy. He's clearly up to date on his vitamins, so this is a tough one for me to back Murphy in contrast. I'm going to be rooting for him. Because I would rather have a guy like Murphy, I think, that has a more entertaining style. Like the Orobai, I know is your guy, but those type of fights do absolutely nothing for me, bro. I'd rather go take a shower during when they're happening. Like Chris Curtis was so overwhelmed last week, it wasn't even funny, and there was nothing he could do.
Right.
He didn't have he couldn't break his grip strength, and that could be this fight where Murphy just can't break his grip strength, and that's it. So. Out of 10 fights, Murphy subs Evloev once. Yeah, that machine's broken. Fair enough. I mean, hey, I had a good run going, and then you look at my betting results from the Apex last week. It's fair to question it. I'll be open and honest. We're just trying to get the answer right. It's not always going to be, but
facts.
Yeah. All righty, buddy. Why don't we go to build some parlays here?
What a cycle.
That time I was too early. I'm just off tonight, boys. I'm sorry.
Oh. Did you say we're building a cycle?
We're on a fucking cycle. I need to do it on the show today with confidence. Okay.
We have one leg.
The first leg is done. It's CLD by decision. No one's talking me out of that one, and we're aligned, so I'm happy with that one.
Can I plead you for the knockout angle?
Please.
Louis Sutherland.
I mean, I do need a longer prop in there for sure. I mean, I feel like it's already written, bro. It's Sutherland KO, Evloev decision, and CLD's decision.
And then we need the sub.
We need the sub. Hold on, let me type these two in first. I don't know if I'm gonna agree on Sutherland, by the way. I'm not, but let's take a look at it. All right, so that's already at plus 1050, bro.
So you don't need a super long sub then?
Montas by sub here, it would pay insane. That would put the cycle at 53-1. Montas by sub, Sutherland KO, Leroy Duncan decision. I think I want to go shorter though. I mean, there's not a ton of good sub angles, bro.
No, that's another thing I was looking at. It's like I don't feel great about Mason Jones. Like I kind of prefer the decision there.
Yeah, the Mario Pinto one's kind of interesting, truthfully.
What was Pinto's sub?
I feel like with that one, the thing is Trocoli, at least we know will tap. It's just a matter if it gets to that point. And then we also have the Ewo angle. It's really all big guys, bro, for the subs. It's 3 big guys.
Yeah, and Mullins sub is 12-1, which is like it's an interesting number, but it's not really a cycling sort of number.
This would be one of the cards that would not surprise me if there's not a single sub.
Me too. I'm looking here and I'm thinking to myself, man, I don't know if I love any of these. And I feel like the sucker one is Shamrock sub, dude.
Patterson's always live.
I mean, that's model approved, but I know you didn't love it, and I totally understand why.
Yeah. I think I'm going to pick one of the big boys
I did see. Did you see Montes? His last time out he was in a grappling match, won by decision.
Yeah. I think here's what I'm going to do, bro. I think I'm going to take Sutherland out.
Okay.
I'm going to take Montes by sub. I just feel like Trocoli is destined to get subbed again. And then I'm going to take
I don't love it, but I understand the circumstances of this card are not good.
this cycle sucks because it's 17-1, but CLD decision, Montes sub, Ewo KO.
Truthfully, I think Ewo's my favorite sub dart of the big boys.
Yeah, but Austin just fucking, he's gonna kill him on the feet, dude.
Yeah, that's ultimately my grave fear.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna lock in an official cycle, but that's
man. The subs are just killer. Usually we love a couple of them, and it's just they're killer.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you whether I prefer Pinto or no analysis. We just spent an hour and a half giving you guys analysis. What do you mean?
38378. Let's hear what your cycle is, pal. Type it in the chat. Tell us what your cycle parlay is.
Yeah, if you have balls, throw a super chat for $3 in there, and Matty will pick it right now.
It's in his mother's basement. He can't afford a super chat. I already mapped it out. Empire Casino. Trocoli will pull a Bulgarian. He's himself in the Gilly. Anyone right now that user 38 will not submit a super chat. How much you want to bet, Austin?
I'd bet the $50 that his half of the super chat is.
Yeah, I think I have to take Trocoli to get sub, bro. I think that's the best sub on the card.
I'll play it with you just on the basis if I do buy the early exit door path for him.
It really comes down to the KO leg for me. Do I want to take something juicy like Sutherland KO? Now here's the real question. Bro, I can get that Sutherland fight to end by KO at -160 and pay a shorter price or a better price than Ewo by KO with the submission danger. That's not bad.
If you would want to, that's fine.
That gives me 19-1. CLD decision, Montes sub, Sutherland fight ends by KO. That's not terrible.
19-1, you said?
Yeah.
Oh. Sutherland underdog lock of the week. Am I echoing, by the way, for other people?
Not for me.
Okay. Hey, we got a lot of people loving Sutherland.
Just DM me on Instagram for March Madness questions. I believe that's I don't know. I need to look at if you DM me a basketball emoji on Instagram, it'll tell you all the different rule sets. I have to look at it. I don't know the answer off the top of my head. Sutherland underdog of the week. Interesting.
I feel like our roots are taking those type of dogs in a cycle.
Yeah. There is no submission danger. Ewo pounds water.
Oh, I need to pick a safe parlay.
Yeah.
I'm just messing around. I totally forgot I have a responsibility to the show.
All right, let's hear it, bro. Did you miss last week?
No, yeah, we hit last week. So we had
Let's run it back.
Let me do. Yeah, so that's 6 of 8 weeks for the safe parlay.
Fire.
And I had Jose Delgado money line, and then Curtis Oral buy started round 3 was last week's safe parlay. I was looking it up. Okay, so what are we gonna do? I tried and true was my method of a money line and then a total I liked. You and I both really like that Dolidze Duncan over.
Yeah.
It's -158 to start round 3. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Let's see what Riley Aswell over is. It's -200 to start round 3.
Okay.
So I'm just comparing those legs. I wouldn't put them together. I'm just seeing like which one might be better.
Mm-hmm.
God. I just had a totally unhinged thought of I kind of want to put Chanel Dyer in the safe parlay. Because I just think Oliviera is really, really bad. And it's like, why is a girl that lost on the Contender Series minus 480 other than the fact it's a lock? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dyer by sub is 9-1.
That's weird. I guess that's because Luciano got her.
Bro, that got me thinking now. Let me take a peek.
Evloev.
She has no submission wins or losses. She did. Oh, she got a nice little round 1 sub in a grappling match in 2023. And Omoplata.
Oliviera did tap almost immediately, bro. When
Bro, I'm not putting a cycle, but I think I got a sprinkle on this. I really do.
what do you think about Dyer? Hey, because Dyer plus Dolidze Duncan starts round 3 is minus 103, so it's about even money. What do you think about that? I think I gotta stay on the formula, bro. If I'm putting 75% on that thing, like why would I change it up?
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm gonna type it in. I'm throwing it in. Look what you've turned me into. I'm doing a safe parlay with a girl that lost on the Contender Series. I'm gonna, of course, guys, as always, I'm gonna shop the safe parlay line before I put it out as an official play.
By sub, bro. He just doesn't look for it, and Murphy is a black belt, like Austin said. I just can't do it.
Yeah. He dominates. So there's my safe parlay. I'm going to shop that before it comes official, which is a good time to plug all of my picks for free in the Home of Fight Discord. So if you want to join, you join us in the Home of Fight Discord. I already have my CLV parlay and then one money line that we talked about earlier, already tracked there as well. So we're going Chanel Dyer money line, Roman Dolidze, CLD starts round 3, minus 103. We'll stay hot. We'll look to stay hot.
Let's run it. Damn, Miami High is only up 6 now. I sweat the second half, bro.
You guys sweat. Well, Matty, I wish you luck with your underdog. Do you have like a main bracket? Who'd you take to win the Natty?
I don't even fill one out yet. I'm going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you're going to.
I'm probably gonna take Duke just because Boozer's my boy.
Would it be the grimiest thing that you've ever heard that is so me that I took Purdue?
I'm clueless, bro.
Oh, everybody thinks Purdue sucks, so I'll take them at like 0.5%.
Every March Madness, I just bet the dogs because it's fun and I don't have to do any research at all.
Yes, it is fun. It's the most fun way to do it. I'm glad you do that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm pretty sure we got a fight card next week. This is where Jake usually hops in and tells me because he's paying attention to more than 1 week at a time. Is next week in Perth?
Oh, UFC Seattle. Sorry, I was on mute.
It's Seattle. It's Seattle. Okay, so we got Adesanya Piper next week for that show. So that'll be a big one.
And then after that, Moicano main event.
Oh, wait. Before I sign off, we got user 38378. He didn't put in a super chat, but he has
shit, bro. He didn't super chat it. He ain't getting his shit read.
Okay. I'm with it. We told you got to super chat it. Put your money where your mouth is. We got to pick one, though, Matty.
I'll read everyone else's, but if you're going to talk shit and then not super chat, I ain't reading your shit.
Who are we picking for the super chat?
Oh, fuck. You reminded me. All right, let me take a look.
Okay, I'm going to read through these in order from the start. Rock Abdul and sub, Aswell moneyline, Evloev decision. You like that?
I got to go with 2 first names for $5. Keto points, Montez sub, Ewo KO plus 2,300. That's the one I'm taking.
That's not bad. I like that.
It all plays into the angles that I've liked and discussed on the show. So
yeah,
I got to do that one.
So $100 going down, you get the 50. You get 50% of it, Matty. You want to flash that up there for him? Can you? You have the ability to do so.
Where is it?
I have it in the super chat column. Yeah, whatever.
How to get to that? Where is it at?
2 first names. Kada point. I wish I could click things, but there's one host only.
2 first names. That's the handle. This is who I picked for the super chat. Keto points, Montez sub, Ewo KO.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And he said if you like money, he's calling his shot there. So that's that. I got my safe parlay, and Matty, as always, your cycle will be out by Friday, correct?
Yes, sir.
Remember, the fights are early this week. They start, I think 1:00 Eastern is when the fights start. So they're early this week during the afternoon. But we appreciate you guys joining us. We will be back for UFC Seattle next week. Another fun live card. As always, 9 p.m. Eastern, right back here with myself, Austin Swaim, for Matt Tanner. Best of luck, guys. We hope all your bets cash and enjoy a great weekend across the pond.